Tallahassee back over to the north and the west. And local radar does show those lines moving right through Tallahassee. They have broken down a little bit as they passed Tallahassee, especially from I-10 southward towards the coast, but those will progress off towards the east. And zooming in further out, we see those severe weather across much of the southeastern coast. We actually had many tornado warnings, especially across Georgia up to South Carolina, even a tornado emergency as well over in Allendale. And of course, this severe weather is going to continue on throughout the rest of the evening and push off the coast tonight. So tonight on FSU Weather, we have a stormy stretch for Tallahassee, very turbulent week, threat for local severe weather, and breaking severe weather coverage across here. All that and more on FSU Weather.
So a little bit about what's going on for today. So obviously we have a lot of activity going on within the southeast, especially along Georgia and South Carolina, a lot of the areas where Macon, Warner Robins, and as we saw, there was actually some videos today on Twitter talking about those tornado touchdowns happening around the South Carolina. It's like the southwest part of it, specifically like Earhart and even like Jeffersonville, Georgia. And even like along the I-75 corridor in Georgia, there was a lot of activity today, and there still continues to be some severe thunderstorm warnings and even tornado watches, of course. But because of these warnings and watches, we're going to discuss it a lot further with Evan at the wall.
That's right. Thanks, Christian. So we do have a big reason why we had this severe weather today was because this wind direction. We had that wind coming off the Gulf of Mexico, advecting that warm, moist air into the southeast United States. So places like Tallahassee, Atlanta, Georgia, into South Carolina, they got in that severe weather action because we had that warm, moist air coming up from the south. And the reason for that is because we had our dew points elevated because of that southerly breeze. New Orleans sitting at 70 degrees on the dew point right now, 67 here in Tallahassee, widespread 70s in that darkest green color, 73 there in Miami. They won't get in that severe weather threat until a few days from now, but still plenty of moisture for these storms to work with. And that's produced all these clouds. And again, this is the big system here. And the reason why we had some of these storms intensify over the region is because we had some breaks in this cloud cover, so that led to more instability being created for these storms to work with. And you can kind of see that here with this increased instability over places like extreme eastern Florida, like Jacksonville. That yellow and white color is that increasing instability. And even into the Carolinas here, we have some of that increasing instability. That's the reason why we had that tornado go through places like Sycamore, South Carolina today, that produced extensive damage in that area. And another reason why we had the severe weather threat today is because we had this wind shear. We had a high shear environment. And I'm going to try my best to explain that here. So these yellow vectors here are at 850 millibars. That's about 5,000 feet up in the atmosphere. So that's closer to the ground. And that was coming out of essentially the southwest. That's southwest right now, more southerly than west. And again, with that 500 millibar vectors, those red vectors, that's higher up in the atmosphere, about 15,000 feet. So that's about 10,000 feet higher than those yellow vectors. So that means we have the winds turning with height. So what that does is that induces more a better environment for those storms to start to rotate and spin. So that's why we had this atmosphere that was conducive for producing tornadoes today. And we also had that, because we have those winds turning with height, we had that warm, moist air being advected northward from the Gulf of Mexico. So all those ingredients together produced that severe weather threat today. And here it is again, the updated map from the Storm Prediction Center still has Tallahassee on the edge of that enhanced risk going through tonight. Same thing for Charleston. The storms have not reached her yet, so we'll have to watch as that line progresses more towards the east. And again, we have that enhanced threat there. Still a slight risk just on the border of Atlanta, Georgia, and working their way towards the outer banks of North Carolina. So please be weather aware tonight. Don't put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Make sure you have a way of getting those warnings overnight in case those need to be notified to you. Current look at our radar, we still have that tornado watch in that maroon color there for extreme eastern Georgia right now, also into the Charleston, South Carolina. The storms are bearing down on you, so take cover there. Also for a little bit of the panhandle of Florida as well. Plenty of lightning with these storms, so make sure that when thunder roars, you go indoors. We know that lightning is a very real threat with these storms, so make sure that you take cover when they do get to you. Current look at, again, our severe alerts. We have that maroon color there with that tornado watch going through tonight. And we also have current severe weather, severe thunderstorm warnings in Georgia and also into South Carolina with that orange color. And we do have a couple of active tornado warnings in that bright red color there in South Carolina. So make sure you if you get issued those warnings, make sure you're taking cover immediately, because these storms do have a history of producing tornadoes, as we have seen today. And we do have a little bit of a tornado potential for tomorrow in Tallahassee, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We're on a slight risk, a 2 out of 5 for tomorrow in Tallahassee. So the threat's not over yet. Just because this big line has gone through today, recently here in the last hour, doesn't mean that we can't still get storms tomorrow. So please be weather aware tomorrow as well. And you see that here in the next 48 hours in the future radar. Showers hang around tonight and into the morning tomorrow. But again, you can see that line starts to swoop in here, and it starts to keep going. We have plenty of downpours left for tomorrow, and that still doesn't clear out until very early Thursday morning. So we still have a lot of time to work with here, and we'll get plenty of rainfall with this. Just to the north of Tallahassee, we could easily get maybe 3 to 5 inches of rainfall, so plenty to work with here over the next few days. And that's your weather for tomorrow. Enhanced risk for Atlanta. So now I'm going to pass things over to Christian, who's going to take a look at our next edit.
Yes, thank you so much, Evan. That was a lot of severe weather talk, but now we're going to take a closer look to our local area. And so right now, the Okemos Stadium, look at those gray, cloudy skies. And that heavy rain was just passing by, but we do have those strong storms, and looks like those winds are coming down to 12 miles per hour. A little bit earlier, you saw we were actually around 23. So we got temperatures in the mid-70s. Looks like Sumatra's a little bit warmer, but it looks like the cities and towns in Georgia are in the mid-60s, so they're a little bit cooler than we are. So with those wind speeds, like I said, they are starting to calm down. For us, it's 12 miles per hour in Tallahassee, having a northerly wind, and then Mobile, 8 miles per hour. And so for our dew points, it is extremely humid. Obviously, as Evan said earlier, that moisture is being advected from the Gulf of Mexico, pushed into our inland region. And so we got those really muggy temperatures of 63 degrees for us in Tallahassee, and then just in general, the 60s in the Big Bend region. So looking at that radar, so much of the line of that storm has unfortunately passed by us by now. It was very exciting when it came by, but there are still plenty of lightning strikes, still a lot of danger for our fellow neighbors out in the east, and even still much of the rest of the southeast of Georgia. So looks like Tallahassee's in the clear now from the severe thunderstorm warning. However, Jefferson County and Taylor and Madison counties are still in that severe thunderstorm warning, and as well as our southeastern counties up in Georgia. For our future radar, you see that storm is clearing out. We are going to have some lingering clouds within the next 24 to 48 hours, and so there it goes still. So we're going to have some clouds coming and going within the next 24 hours. And so for our severe weather potential from the Storm Prediction Center, we are kind of on the edge of the enhanced category, but a little bit further spread out. We are in the slight, meaning that there are chances of some damaging winds, even hail, and producing some pretty strong thunderstorms. So please be advised of that. So for the rest of tonight, we are going to be sitting at 70 degrees from 9 o'clock around dinner time up until 3 a.m. in the wee morning hours. So for the rest of tonight in the area, it's going to be nice and comfortable, sitting at low 70s. We got some lightning strikes that will be continuing to happen for the rest of tonight. And for tomorrow, we're still going to be seeing some of those thunderstorms. It's going to warm back up a little bit, and we're going to be at the 80s for us in Tallahassee and across the Big Bend region. It looks like along the coast, though, it's going to be a little bit cooler than we are, sitting at 77 degrees. And we're going to take one more look at the severe weather potential, and this is for tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be moving further up where Atlanta is, and even north of Montgomery, Alabama. That enhanced category is still going to be very crucial to keep an eye out for the next couple of days. So for the next week, the next couple of days, we are going to be seeing some thunderstorms, and looks like the weekend it's going to be nice and clear, and well, looks like it's going to be drying up a little bit, and even into Monday, Tuesday, much less chances. But for now, we're going to pass it off to Ali, who's going to be talking about some awesome photos we took earlier.
Thank you so much, Christian. Yeah, so these are photos from some of our student meteorologists here at FSU. And here's the first one showing just that cloud moving in, so ominous. This was taken earlier when we saw that line of strong thunderstorms moving into the Tallahassee area. So it's basically called the squall line, strong line of thunderstorms, you name it. Basically, this just shows that strong, severe thunderstorm moving in. And let's take a next look at our next photo. We see these very kind of puffy, these cumulus, these kind of ominous looking clouds right over, this is the Love Building right here in FSU. And basically this is just showing just that kind of ominous, foreboding feeling of those thunderstorms that we just saw. that caused a lot of severe damage. We are going to continue seeing that in maybe later in the day, coming into tomorrow morning. We're going to be continue seeing some of those severe thunderstorms. So keep an eye out, everybody, and maybe take some cooler shots like this. Now, why don't we take a look at our third photo here on the roof of our building. You can see that lighter portion and this strong, very pronounced shelf cloud that was basically the front of that line of thunderstorms that we saw move in earlier. So we see that lighter behind. We can maybe start seeing some of that rain that was falling over there. We could just see it moving in. So basically it's just going to be kind of showing what's to come, you know. So this is one of those photos that were taken earlier showing that severe weather, and we obviously saw that wind, that rain, that heavy rain we saw. So just make sure to keep an eye out for that, and just make sure to keep an eye out for potentially more severe weather as we've been covering on this show, and just make sure, like Evan said, do not keep your phone on Do Not Disturb. So let's take the last look at one of our time-lapse videos. So we can see these rolling clouds. Look at that, very ominous. So these rolling clouds, you can see that with a lot of severe thunderstorms that come through, especially in Florida, we see that a lot. These severe thunderstorms, these rolling clouds, very scary. And yeah, that's just an indication of that strong thunderstorms. But let's continue on with this topic and see how it's gonna affect our Northeast with winter weather with Evan at the wall.
Yeah, thanks, Ali. So I think that was a really cool video that we had sent in from Hannah Fagan. That's probably one of my favorite videos I've seen from today. So, but transitioning back towards the Northeast, my home of New York, not seeing this severe weather right now, which is a good thing. And we're not seeing really much snow either. We had a pretty mild day. It pretty much average for this time of the year. Average in New York City is about 57 degrees. We almost got to that today. We see there 55 degrees just a couple hours ago. So nice day there. There will be some rain moving in for tonight and tomorrow. I couldn't look at the Midwest. Looks like we do have some snow showers up in northern Minnesota right now around International Falls. Might be a little bit too warm for that to stick, but we still have some snow showers around and also plenty of rainfall as well. Drier as we move out towards the west. Idaho Falls sitting around the 40-degree mark at this hour. A little bit colder down there in Casper, down in the 30s. And we do have a lot of wind reports behind this severe system, so make sure you hang on to your hats and secure any loose objects outside. We don't want those blowing away and causing potentially damage down the road. Down at the desert Southwest, nice as always. We have plenty of warm temperatures. Look at that, 89 degrees today in Las Vegas, so plenty of warmth there, plenty of sunshine. That's the place to be for this time of the year. Up in the Northwest, definitely cooler. Maybe some snow showers up in the higher elevations here, but nothing too crazy to worry about. Not like the severe weather that we've had here. We do have a couple of winter weather advisories, especially up there in northern Minnesota. We do have that snowfall occurring, and we also do have a winter storm warning up here in the mountains of Washington state. So make sure that you break out the snow shovels there, because the snowfall is falling, even though it is April. As we go throughout time here, we do have that snow working its way through Minnesota and really wrapping up here, that nice counterclockwise cinnamon-style swirl throughout the Midwest, and that rain will again make its way towards New York by the time we get to Thursday, potentially ruining opening day for my New York Yankees. I really hope that doesn't happen, but we'll have to see him. Hopefully the Yankees will beat the Red Sox on Thursday, potentially Friday. And as for the snowfall here, we have plenty of snowfall for Minnesota. That's really the only place that's going to see snowfall throughout the lower 48, and potentially a little bit of a bullseye here in the extreme northeastern tip of Minnesota, potentially maybe over a foot of snow. So I don't really want that snow to happen in this late in April. So hopefully that will be the last time we get to see that. But for now, I'm going to pass things over to Ali, who's going to take a look at our next segment, which is our local.
Thank you so much, Evan. Yes, we are going to be taking a look at our local segment. So yes, this is a live look at Doak Campbell stadiums. We still see that darkness, that mugginess. 64 currently, strong storms to be expected perhaps later in the day, perhaps going into tomorrow, but we do see that cloud cover over Doak. And as we mentioned before, this is that wind shear that we were talking about, one of those main causes of these strong thunderstorms that just passed through and are passing through into the Georgia and South Carolina region. We see just that change in wind direction at these varying levels of pressure. So yeah, that's going to be one of our big causes of severe weather. So yeah, right currently 12 miles per hour in Tallahassee. We're seeing up to 14 miles an hour in Atlanta. So we are seeing a lot of that wind coming into the Panhandle area. and up into Georgia. Current dew points, 63 in Tallahassee. Remember when I told you it was 64? So notice that these temperatures are very close. That means that it is very muggy. We are seeing that because it's raining. So it's going to continue being very, very moist in Tallahassee as we see it currently. Our cloud cover, so we are going to continue seeing that some of that cloud cover moving through obviously is going to be related to the rain that we are experiencing. So it's going to continue being a little bit overcast into the night. So that radar, look at this strong line of thunderstorms, all these little white dots, that is lightning, folks. So make sure to keep your eye out for that. Lightning is very dangerous. And we're gonna see some of these that red showing that severe thunderstorm as it continues moving through into the southeast, into Georgia, into South Carolina. But Tallahassee isn't out of the woods yet as we still see that red down here in Tallahassee, some of those storms lingering. So the severe alerts, we're seeing, again, some warnings and really right now a watch in Tallahassee. So we're going to continue looking out for those severe storms in Tallahassee. So make sure to keep your eye out for that, folks. And some severe thunderstorm warnings up into the northern part of the southeast. Local radar still showing some scattered storms, some scattered light storms in the Tallahassee area. We saw kind of the worst of it move through earlier. Continue seeing some of that later. The future radar, again, just showing that cloud cover moving into the Tallahassee, some scattered storms stemming from the Gulf, maybe gonna make an impact tomorrow morning. And the severe weather potential still showing that enhanced for Tallahassee, and we're gonna continue seeing it in the more northern part of Georgia. In our overnight outlook, 70 degrees and the week ahead. But we're going to continue talking about this with Sammy. So he's going to continue talking about some of this weather we've been experiencing.
Thank you again, Ale. So with that, we are going into a further look into the rest of Florida. So we have overall a very cool day in Panama City Beach. Over at Gainesville, we're at 83 degrees. Miami, a very sunny 83 degrees. In Orlando, very warm 90 degrees. So at least for me, I'm glad we have somewhat moderate temperatures over in the Tallahassee area. Current temperatures, yet again, we have around 64 in Tallahassee, and then lower in South Florida, we have mid-80s. And, you know, if you're from South Florida, you're going to be seeing 80 degrees basically for the next like 5 months. So it's summer already over there. New Orleans, we got 70 degrees, a little cooler in Tallahassee. These dew points are making it very, very moist and muggy for us right now. And that's why we have a bunch of storms moving in currently because of those high dew points. The upper level water vapor, we have this dry area that's going to push through, and these are the storms that we're currently experiencing and we'll be experiencing more tomorrow. As far as the dry air, we won't be seeing any dry air really in the near future. It's going to be all wet and rainy for the next couple days. Here are the rest of the storms that have moved through. I had to walk through some of this earlier. It was not great. It was very windy, and I would love to be in Miami right now where there's no rain and it's sunny and clear skies. As far as the next 48 hours are concerned, the storm's going to move through very fast tonight, and then we're going to experience more storm chances tomorrow, and it's going to come down quite a bit. And then we're going to see 80 degrees tomorrow, very rainy in Tallahassee. And then, yeah, it's going to be cloudy tomorrow. And as far as the radar is, we're going to pass it off to the next segment.
That's right. We are now entering our severe weather segment here across Tallahassee. We do have that wind shear right now across much of the area. That's what's providing that fuel and that rotation for these storms as they get going up in the atmosphere. But current radar does show those severe weather storms moving through Tallahassee. They just moved through by about an hour ago, but they have broken down, especially I-10 southward along the coast right there. So, yeah, so you can see it's moving off currently over into Georgia and off towards our east there. So we are not longer in a tornado watch. That is just off to our friends there in Franklin or in Liberty County there. But this will then arc over towards Savannah. So Savannah, Georgia, and places along I-75 and near I-16 there in Georgia are seeing those heavy rain bands moving through those squall lines. So Tornado watches extend from about the Gulf Coast all the way up to about North Carolina there, just past Myrtle Beach. We do have plenty of severe weather or severe thunderstorm warnings across much of I-10, just off towards the west of I-95 there. We have a tornado warning actually that just passed near Savannah here, and it's still active. So it is until 7 p.m. Eastern time. So any of these tornado warnings you're there, or if you're under a tornado warning, do make sure you go to the lowest part of your building or interior structure, away from windows. That way, if there is a tornado, you don't get, of course, it can help save your life as well. So severe weather alerts right now we see across much of the Big Bend right there. So if we zoom in right there across Tallahassee, much of the line here has broken down from about I-10 southward. So we might see a few severe thunders or stronger storms, especially near the coast, but much of this has broken down here. But right now, if you're driving off towards or along I-10 there from near Madison over towards Monticello, you might see a downpour. So, or you will see a downpour, and it could be pretty heavy. So just watch out there and make sure you keep your distance if you are driving, because it can get pretty heavy, and it can, especially visibility, can drop significantly. Same thing if you're driving near the Valdosta area and along I-75 and over towards Waycross there. So this is all moving off towards the east. So Waycross will get some of this line here pretty soon. And of course, a tornado watch extends across much of the coastline. So if you are near Savannah right here, we do see a few stronger storms. It's actually a tornado warned storm right there near Beaufort, just entering into South Carolina, moving off along, actually about to cross, looks like I-95 there. If we look at velocity, there, right there is that's the coupler right there. That's where we would see the tornado just crossing U.S. Route 17, moving off to the north and east. So Beaufort, go into that lower interior portion of whatever structure you're in. If you are outside in a car, do not go under an overpass. Excuse me. Make sure you go preferably in a ditch area, because that will help with possibly, that's the preferred way whenever you're outside or there's no structure around you. But many of these storms have been tornado warned, especially across much of South Carolina. We had the tornado emergency earlier in Allendale, and prayers out to them over there as they will recover and as they investigate the damage. But yeah, that's a tornado warning right now near Beaufort, moving off to the north and east. So we'll have to watch to see how this continues on past Beaufort. But again, if you are along U.S. Route 21 or near Interstate 95, you will have to see about that. But we'll look at more with Christian here at the desk.
Yes, thank you, Evan. And it looks like earlier we had a lot of the tornado warnings that were passing along South Carolina earlier, especially over in Allendale. And we did see some video coverage from Twitter earlier today that had some debris everywhere, and especially around Earhart earlier, there was definitely some the correlation coefficient. They showed some serious differences, or there was a lot of debris flying around, and it just seemed like there was some definite reasoning to believe that there was some tornadoes on the ground. And there was some confirmation with those tornadoes along Allendale, and even then there was actually two of those formed. Actually, Allendale had a couple of times where they were having to deal with the tornadoes. It was like around 4 o'clock earlier today, and then it happened a little bit again at like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So I hope everybody that was there in South Carolina earlier today, and even much of central Georgia, where Macon was, and Warner Robins, if I can find it, over here. So now they seem to be in the clear, and hopefully everybody is safe, and everybody needs to be sure that everybody needs to gather around and make sure that it's all good. But we're going to go ahead and pass it off back to the wall, and we're going to be talking about Sammy here.
Hello again. We are going to go a quick overview of the local again, and we have the storms currently going through, as we heard, with the severe weather warnings that should be expiring soon, at least for the local area. As far as the next 48 hours are concerned, we have that rough storm moving through tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to have a lot more of that rainy weather in the future. Yes, okay, so a live look at Doe Campbell. Yes, it's very cloudy currently. We have 64 degrees, a light wind of 12 miles per hour. It was you should have seen the downpour earlier. It was really intense. It went up to around 30-mile gusts. And then we have 76 currently in Tallahassee. And then as far as the radar is concerned, yes, we still have those warnings in place around Tallahassee. And then those storms are going to continue to move forward over by Jacksonville. As you can see here, we do have those warnings, which are these bubbles that are popping up here for various advisories. And then the future radar, it's already basically done now. We're going to pass, as you see, yeah, the cloud cover is going to continue into tomorrow. That rain's going to continue a little bit. And then overnight, we're looking at a cool 70 degrees. And then severe weather is going to basically be still a chance, but to wrap up the show, we're going to pass it off to the desk. Quick overview, we'll cover this more shortly.
The severe threat continuing for most of the panhandles throughout tomorrow, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We have a slight risk of 2 out of 5 in that severe category for tomorrow, so we'll have to make sure we are prepared for that. And we have to make sure that those storms are not producing tornadoes or anything like that for tomorrow. So please stay weather aware for tomorrow as well. And now we're going to pass things over to Aaron for one last look at our week ahead.
That's right. Over the week ahead, we'll see the chance for some unsettled weather, especially across Wednesday as we move in through. As we move through the day tomorrow, we do have that risk of that severe weather. Won't be as much as we saw today, but that will continue on, and we have to watch that tomorrow. But of course, we will continue on through about Thursday, of course, with some scattered showers, especially off there. But I don't know, what do you think, Alejandra?
Yeah, so we are going to continue seeing some of that severe weather moving in, as we can see right here into Wednesday, Thursday. We have a 60% chance. That was today, and we're going to maybe see some more of that severe weather going into Thursday morning with that 20% chance. But look at that, it's going to clear up right into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, perfect weekend. And Monday, Tuesday, we're going to continue seeing some maybe scattered clouds in the sky, but it is going to be looking very, very nice for next week. Hopefully no more severe weather. But yeah, so everybody, I hope you have a great day. Hope you continue staying safe, and look out for next week. It's going to be a lot better than this one. I'm student meteorologist Alejandra Garcia, and this has been FSU Weather.